I know we're golden, but Jesus Christ, we're still alive. So stop with that, because not all people our age are tottering morons. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Silver and Sensational. It is I, Lois Mills, and I thank you for tuning in. And today I'm going to be reviewing, if one wants to call it that, critiquing, judging last night's episode of the Golden Bachelorette, episode number 2. I was stunned to see it was going to be 2 hours long.
2 hours later.
2 hours again. Oh, wow. Really? Root canal. Root canal. Root canal could be easier than watching this. But before I begin, I want to put a few things out on the table. Firstly, I know a lot of you like to watch this in a love-hate motion, and I'm probably one of them, who can sit around and make fun of this. But I do respect, if this is something you adore and you can't take my tearing this apart, let me know in the comment box. Before I get started yet again, there's a subject I'm going to touch upon that is a rather sensitive subject. So I'm going to try very carefully to toe the line. And I will let you know beforehand so that you are prepped for what I'm about to say. So, starting at the beginning of this program, the way this program is structured, there's going to be 2 group dates and 1 one-on-one. And the group dates, oh my God, really? Really? The first one is prom night?
You go to prom!
Prom night? Prom night. So they put all the men, well, at least the first group of men that are doing the group date night, which I think were about 8 fellows. And there was a room full of tuxedos. Gold, silver, sparkling, blue on blue, pink on blue. And they were getting dressed and everybody's all excited and they just want Joan in their life. And this is the woman they think they want to spend the rest of their life with. And then they go to this thing called the prom. Jesus Christ. I mean, wasn't the prom difficult enough the first time around when, you weren't 60 years older? And then she comes out, this beautiful woman with an extraordinary figure. She comes out in this strapless mini dress. It looked like tulle puffs on the side. I don't know how else to describe it, except to be really silly looking. But then again, so is the whole concept of the prom. Silly looking. And, people were going to get out there and they were going to dance. They were going to do their thing. And, oh yeah, we're hip and we're young. And look, we haven't lost any of this. Really? This follows watching guys talk about their bunk beds and who had to get up how many times during the night to go pee.
Sometimes I will get up 3, 4, sometimes 5 times a night.
Again, we have to talk about the trials and tribulations of growing old. Really? Do I really need to hear about you need to get up 3 times and you get up almost 5 times? This is almost on par with seeing the hearing aids at the beginning of the first episode. I think the name Golden Bachelorette, I think the audience has enough wherewithal to figure out that these people are not teenagers or even middle-aged. So this nonsense, and I call it nonsense, I just find it offensive. I don't think that Golden Bachelorette is quite the venue to be discussing how many times a guy at that age has to get up and pee. I don't find it humorous. I certainly don't find it informative. I just find it offensive to men of that age. Okay? But that's one woman's opinion. So the prom night, I did not know who Taylor Dane was, but apparently Some people seem to think that they knew her. Every one of these men is vying for the attention, clearly wanting to be special, and everybody is on the floor except for Charles L., who's sitting by himself, looking sad and forlorn, missing his wife. If you're missing her, what the hell are you doing there? Now, let me make myself clear. I don't believe that what Charles L. is going through is disingenuous. I really don't. I think he really feels this. And I feel for him. It's very clear that this has been the only woman in his life. I understand this and I empathize with him. But I think the producers, by making this such an obvious thing where he's sitting there by himself, all forlorn,
when I was young,
I think they're really taking advantage of a man's sorrow. I really do. I don't like it. I just felt that the program itself, that they were overstepping boundaries and taking advantage of gaining sympathy on the part of the audience at this person's expense. But then that's, again, my opinion. So during the prom, Jonathan, good-looking dude, wearing, a pink tuxedo jacket, pink vest, no shirt, could see part of his tattoo.
I go, no shirt.
No shirt?
Was sharing with her how he didn't go to didn't go to any prom, that this in fact was his first prom. So he started to tell her about having gone to a Catholic school. He was the only non-white there. And he had asked a girl to the prom and she accepted. And then 1 week before, she called and told him she couldn't go. And he was heartbroken. And he has never recovered from this. Jonathan, you hardly look like you've spent the rest of your life in celibacy, holding your broken heart, which, after she gave him the rose, his heart was healed. And that's a quote. He was all over this stigma that he carried for 50 plus years by getting this red rose. Isn't that miraculous? Imagine what a red rose could do in a psychiatrist's office. You've been abused as a child. Let me give you a red rose. It's all over. My heart is healed. At the same time, the man's a very handsome man. He has a charm about him, and I think Joan really likes him. So what can I say? Again, one woman's opinion, but it's very clear to all of us viewers and the men in that group that she has a thing for chicken soup chops. So what was their first one-on-one date? Well, where else would two 60-plus-year-olds go to but Disneyland? Imagine. And she's waiting there for him, and she does look adorable. She looks adorable in her shorts and her t-shirt and her not very nice flip-flops. And she's waiting for him with Mickey and Minnie Mouse ears. Let me tell you, body language, their knees are pointing towards, I'm not a body language expert, but I know enough when your knees are pointing towards one another and you can't seem to get close enough to the person, that your body language is speaking, I like this guy, got the hots for him. This is how I look at it. It was, what can I say? They were on rides. They were having such a good time being childlike, and wasn't this fun? And they were letting go, and this was so wonderful. And again, this is why it's really still too early to call this. But once again, she made the statement she felt safe with Chuck. And she hasn't felt safe since her husband died. This continued this theme of loss of love. So before I say another word, I will have to tell you that I truly empathize with people who have lost a spouse or a mate. I have only lost mates through divorce or separation. And I can't even imagine having to bury the love of your life. I don't know what to say, except I am very, very sorry for anyone that has to or has had to do that. But this evening now became a crying fest as she and Chalk started talking about the loves of their life and how painful it is for them to have lost them. This is the part that I sat up, perked my ears up when they would say things like, I'm still in love with him, or I'm still in love with her. So what are you doing there? I just feel that, there they are, all of them, the men and her. I want love in my life. I want a new love. I want a new love. Well, as someone who's had loss can tell you, you have to make room in your heart by taking away the hurt that you feel from the loss or whatever previous life you've had with someone that has left you with deep hurt in your heart. You have to remove that hurt before you can make room for new love. And again, if this is the producer's way of putting a program together that has content where there really isn't a lot of content, okay. But if they're out there trying to convince the rest of the country that this makes for good date conversation, I have to put this on par with divorced people who go out to dinner and then talk about every bad thing their ex did or is still doing. You know what? That's something for you to share with your immediate family, with good friends, but I mean both of them. And then he's crying, she's crying. I'm sorry, I couldn't cry. And although I feel bad, I couldn't cry because I kept saying, but you're looking for someone to love again. Why are you saying you're still in love? I have to think that the producers are telling them they have to have this conversation. I think it's too contrived. I think it's there to pull on people's heartstrings, and it's unrealistic. Make no mistake, I understand and know that if you are going to pursue a relationship with someone, you certainly have to talk about your past. But I'm guessing that you really wouldn't want to do it on your first date, or even your second or your third, until you have really good reason to feel that this is really going somewhere. And doing it in front of all of America doesn't sit well with me at all. I understand, these kind of programs, reality programs, everybody lets everything out. But that letting it all out, I'm not so sure that's part of our generation as much as it is younger people. I think we're still from that generation that is a little more cautious about letting it all hang out, at least initially. So that being said, we move into the second part of the show, where it is a talent show. And for Joan, it's all about vulnerability. It was sort of cute what she did for the talent show when she was a contestant on Golden Bachelor. And she made up a poem, which was, I thought, kind of cute. And I thought appropriate for what she was doing. Now we get Lonnie Love, a guest judge. Again, I apologize. I didn't know who Lonnie Love was. But we've got some talent going on. Most of it not really great. So we get Pascal, the Frenchman who owns the hair salon in Chicago. And Pascal decides to put a long straight wig on a mannequin's head and does a quick shearing of this long hair, drops on the floor. And then he takes his scissors and he spins them around. And I'm saying, Jesus, Jenny, what is this about? I don't know how everyone else felt, but and I kind of like Pascal in a sort of, I like Pascal, but I wouldn't want to be with Pascal. I mean, I didn't need to go into, Pascal's closet.
No way everything's gonna fit in here, guy.
Was 100% labels. And this is my Gucci and this is my Louis. And I mean, really, 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 really. I mean, okay. So next we have Kim, who sings a song and everybody claps and carries on. And he thinks he's killed it. And I'm saying, I have the worst singing voice in the world and I would not sing. Kim definitely should not have been singing, but he thought he was great. And Joan was just, ooh, so good, so good, so good, so good. What can I say? Another one bites the dust as far as I'm concerned. Hey! And then we get to Dan. Dan is very vulnerable. And unfortunately, again, another criticism that I'm not blaming Dan for, but the producers. So Dan has issue with his tremors. And he explains that it's a familial, I don't know if you want to call it a disease, but anyway, that his grandfather had it, his father has it, he has it. And he says it so many times that I want to say to him, Dan, you're making me identify you as the man with the tremors. From my own personal experience, if you have a medical issue and you make that central to your life, this becomes your identity. Why would you do that? Why? Because it's not going to serve your medical issue well. I just didn't like, and I think it was the producers having him be sympathetic, perhaps. But let me tell you what he did so that he could do something with his tremors is he had ribbons that he swirled around kind of like a Dallas cowboy girl would her pom-poms. And of course, Joan fell for it and they went out to dinner and it was complete sob session. The two of them crying and crying and crying some more. I keep fumphing here because I have no words for, again, I go back and I understand and I do it myself. If I have to speak about somebody I've loved and lost, I will choke up, this is natural. But to be there again, I go back to the concept. You're there to start a new life, to find new love. So why are you doing this? Producers? No. No. Stop with the sympathy. Stop with the hearing aches and the peeing all night. I know we're golden, but Jesus Christ, we're still alive. So stop with that because not all people our age are tottering morons. Now, next. Another group date was a barbecue at the palace. And Jack, the caterer, is not at all approving of what his colleague is doing putting barbecue sauce on top of the hamburger. And, you got 18 guys, all with their own idea of how to barbecue and, television. So they're having their little, chef moment at the grill. And they go to sit down and in she comes. And she's sitting in the middle of them. One lady, 18 men. Yeah, I just had the feeling that 100 years ago, would she even feel safe in this kind of environment? Oh, Lord. So during the barbecue, each fellow's trying to get a little more one-on-one time with her. And then we get a fellow who learned German.
Hältst du diese Bratwurst mit mir?
Says something in German that he asks her what it might mean. And she said, can I cuddle? And he said, it's can I kiss? And they kiss and they kiss and they kiss. And you know what? There's a lot of kissing with her in each of these guys. Lots of kissing. Yeah, I guess, I don't know, can I kiss you?
Can I kiss you?
Well, of course, and on and on and on. Okay. Somebody looking in who's very straight-laced can say she's being very slutty. I didn't feel that way, but I felt a little bit overdone. It's like these guys seem to be pushing, going in for a kiss, And, she's too nice to turn her cheek or do whatever. It was interesting. The one person I noticed, there was one fellow, and I'll talk about it in just a few minutes, who he actually went to kiss her on her cheek. And I thought, all right, but I'll get to that. You'll be surprised who that was. So now it's time for the rose. Each of them, they're really trying to, God, if it's not me, I don't want to go home. This could be the woman of my dreams. I could spend the rest of my life with this woman. She has it all. She's smart. She's beautiful. She's kind. She's elegant. She's poised. She puts family first. She's the Madonna. What can I say? But she really is probably all of those things. But each of them waiting with bated breath. And of course, the one that we were all looking for, because he is undoubtedly the shyest, Charlie L. Well, I was sure she was not going to leave Charlie L. behind because the audience wouldn't like that. Roses are handed out, and who didn't get one? None other than our friend Jack. Raspberry pink sport coat, caterer from south side of Chicago, wasn't chosen. But, he was gracious about it. He got his jump in the pool, and it was Jack who, when he said goodbye, kissed Our Lady on the cheek. And I thought, Jack, you know your place. And I thought a little bit more of him after seeing him do that. Do you think I'm making too much of this kissy-feely stuff? Let me know in the comment box, huh? So that's my take on the second episode of the Golden Bachelorette. Please go ahead and comment because I'm dying for you to tell me what you're thinking. And say, keep up with us on our blog. Go down to the description box and click on the link. It'll take you directly to our blog. In the meantime, subscribe with us if you haven't yet. Doesn't cost anything. No one bothers you. Just benefits us. And hit the like button. Do share us with all your friends. Hit the notification button. Because of the timing of the program, Jessica will drop it whenever she's able to get it finished. So if you hit the notification button, you'll know exactly when it's dropped. In the meantime, can I thank each and every one of you for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed today's program. And stay well and God bless. Goodbye, everyone.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friends, I'll say it clear. I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I've traveled each and every highway and more. Much more than this, I did it my way.